Have you ever had one of those everyday decisions that should be simple, but somehow your brain turns it into a full committee meeting? What should I do first today? Should I say yes to this? Should I buy this now or wait? Should I change my plan, cancel something, or push through? This is one of the ways I personally use ChatGPT the most, not for giant life decisions, not to hand over my judgment, but to help me think through everyday choices with more clarity and less overthinking. Welcome back to AI Puppy Playbook, where I help you learn practical ways to use ChatGPT for life and business without making it complicated. Today's Sunday How I lesson is about how I use ChatGPT to think through everyday decisions. Here's the honest truth. A lot of decision fatigue does not come from one big decision. It comes from all the small ones stacking up. What should I focus on today? Do I have enough time for this project? Should I respond now or wait? Is this worth my money? Is this helping me move forward, or is it just another distraction? And when your brain is already full, even a simple decision can start to feel heavier than it needs to be. That is where ChatGPT can be helpful. I do not use it as a magic answer machine. I use it more like a thinking partner. It helps me get the messy thoughts out of my head and into a clear structure. Here is the basic prompt I like to use. Help me think through this decision clearly. The decision is insert decision. My main options are option 1, option 2, and option 3. My biggest concern is insert concern. My goal is insert goal. Please help me compare the options, point out what I may be missing, and recommend the most practical next step. That prompt works because it gives ChatGPT context, and context matters. A weak prompt sounds like this. What should I do? That usually gives you a generic answer. A stronger prompt tells ChatGPT what you are deciding, what your options are, what you care about, and what outcome you want. That is when ChatGPT becomes much more useful. Here is a simple example. Let's say I have a full day and I am trying to decide what to work on first. I might say, help me think through what to work on first today. My options are finishing a video script, updating a product listing, writing a newsletter, or cleaning up my workspace. My goal is to make progress on something that supports my content and business. I only have one focused hour. Help me choose the best first task. That kind of prompt helps ChatGPT sort the decision by time, energy, urgency, and return. And this is where I want you to think like a CEO of your own life. Not every task deserves your best energy. Some tasks feel productive, but they do not actually move anything forward. So when ChatGPT helps me compare options, I am not just asking what sounds good. I am asking what creates the best use of my time. That is the difference. Another everyday decision is whether to say yes to something, a request, a project, an invitation, a favor, another commitment. This is where ChatGPT can be very helpful because it can slow down the automatic yes. I might prompt it like this. Help me decide whether to say yes to this request. The request is insert request. My current priorities are insert priorities. The possible benefit is insert benefit. The possible downside is insert downside. Please help me decide whether this supports my goals or adds unnecessary pressure. That one is powerful because it forces you to look at the trade-off. Because every yes costs something. It costs time, energy, focus, sometimes money, sometimes peace. And if you are building something, protecting your attention matters. This also works for everyday spending decisions. Maybe you are looking at a tool, subscription, course, gadget, or home item. Instead of asking ChatGPT, should I buy this? I would ask, help me decide whether this purchase makes sense. The item is insert item. The price is insert price. I would use it for insert use. My concern is insert concern. Please help me compare the value, the timing, and whether there may be a simpler or lower cost option. That kind of prompt is especially helpful because it brings you back to value. Not impulse, not hype, not fear of missing out, value. Will I actually use this? Will it save time? Will it help me create, improve, organize, or solve something? Or is it just another thing? That is the kind of thinking ChatGPT can support. Here's the extra line I often add to decision prompts. Before you answer, ask me up to 3 clarifying questions if you need more context. That one line can change the quality of the answer, because sometimes ChatGPT needs to know more before it gives you useful advice. And honestly, that is a good thing. A smart assistant should not pretend it has enough information when it does not. So instead of rushing to an answer, you can train ChatGPT to pause and ask better questions first. That is one of the simplest ways to get better results. After ChatGPT helps me compare the options, I still make the final decision. I usually run it through this simple filter. Does this support my real goal? Do I have the time, energy, or money for it right now? Is this scalable, or will it keep creating more work? Will this matter next week, next month, or next year? What is the simplest next step? That last question matters. Because clarity is not helpful if it turns into a 25-step plan you will never touch. The goal is not to make everyday decisions more complicated. The goal is to make them calmer, clearer, and more practical. So that is how I use ChatGPT to think through everyday decisions. I give it the decision, I give it my options, I give it my goal, I give it my concern, then I ask it to help me compare the choices and point out what I may be missing. ChatGPT does not replace your judgment, it helps you organize it, and for everyday life, that can be a huge relief. If you want to try this, copy the prompt from the description and use it on one small decision today. Start simple. Because the more you practice using ChatGPT for clear thinking, the easier it gets to stop spinning and start deciding. Thanks for watching AI Puppy Playbook. I'll see you in the next lesson.